Hi friends, wizd here, welcome to a new Raid Shadow Legends video. So, you've been seeing Titos teams, Titos Wexwell teams or Titos Brogni teams or Brogni and Wexwell with Titos doing billions of damage to Hydra and Chimera. And the question is that, do you have the level of gear required to build those crazy teams? And is it worth your time? Is it full auto or not? Is it worth your time to help your clan with those billions of damage or not? That's what I want to talk about today, though my opinion is obvious from the thumbnail and the title of the video. I will show you the tests that I've done, where I built this kind of team, and I'll show you the level of gear that's required. And then we'll talk about how valuable this is, how beneficial it is to your clan, to you and your clan, and whether it's worth your time to do it or not. Let me go into the recording. So this is the test teams that I've built based on videos that I've seen. I'll tell you the roles pretty quickly and which champions shouldn't be in this team, what you can replace them with. So Duchess is for Veils. So she is valuable because she prevents the fearhead of fearing your team. Owella is one of the best champions for this comp because she does two important things. She extends the buffs on the team, which is one of the requirements for those shield extension teams, and she puts increased resistance on the team. So this is an additional buff that will help Wexwell extend the shield even further, and also increased resistance will help your team, whoever the buffs are getting stolen from by the Head of Mischief, to resist that steal. Just to be clear, in this comp we only care about Titos. Titos needs to stack his shield as high as possible so he cannot have this shield getting stolen, but we care to a less degree about the other champions there. Lamazou is very good in such a team because she can reset the cooldowns for either Wexwell or Titos to help us either extend the shields more and increase the buff duration. The last spot on the team here is not a correct one. I'm using Georgette for one reason, is because his crit damage is higher than Titos. And you need this in this team because basically the Hydra, the first champion that the Hydra will eat is going to be the one with the highest crit damage. You don't want this to be Titos. So on your one of your buff extenders or whatever champion or reset champions that you have in the team, this can be a Chimera, this can be another buff extender. You just need to have someone with the highest crit damage in the team so that he will get eaten instead of Titos in that first round. Titos can easily get him back with one hit, and then after that first turn, it's just random. One of the things that content creators mention, but they don't highlight it as much when they are showing you this type of team, they do mention it though, just to be fair, is that once Titos gets eaten, the run is over because it's very hard to keep stacking the shield on him again. Let me actually start this run because we will talk while it's running. I'll show you what's happening here. The sequence is very simple. So the first thing here, because Lamazou is the fastest, she's just applying the debuffs, the block buffs and all of that stuff. Then Wexwell is starting with his A3. The important thing here is that we're going to apply buffs by Duchess, Owella and everyone. And then Wexwell on the second turn will use all of these buffs to extend them and increase the shield. And Titos' damage of course will start ramping up as time goes by. The point that I was saying is that this is completely luck dependent. The Annika team, for example, in the past, before they eliminated it because of like how taunt works and all of this on Hydra, had a very specific point where you by choice, when the shield is big enough, to remove the shield from the champion and then just simply do your big hit. While here in this team, it's completely based on luck. Whenever Titos gets eaten, this team can keep running as long as you want it to, piling damage and doing billions and all of that good stuff. But once Titos gets eaten, this run is over. So that requires that you will run it on manual. I see some teams that they claim that they can be full auto. Full auto will work well in Chimera, but it needs, I think it needs either Krisk or that Mythical Endurok. If you don't have one or both of these, you cannot run a full auto Titos team. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong below. My main point is that you have a limited number of quick battles. Even if you have a team that you think can run on full auto with Titos, you can just run it a few times and you will get very low damage. Then you'll have to run it like this, run it not manually. You can run it on full auto, but you'll keep it running on the side as many times as you can. Most probably, for most players, you'll have to do it manually to keep seeing what's happening and correcting things with your buff extenders or reset champions. So that will eat up a ton of time. Can it get you at least 1 billion of damage, which is way higher than any other schemes that you can run? Yes, it can if you have the level of gear. So that's the first crazy high checkpoints. For all other teams that we're discussing on the channel, like for example the Crowcat Shake one that I showed before, this team can run regardless of your level of gear, because if your level of gear is lower, you'll just run it on a lower difficulty, or you will get lower damage, basically. But this team, it's an all or none. If you don't have a certain level of gear, you cannot even run this team. So the requirements are very high, the speed tune is not easy to get, it requires manual running, and then at the end of the day, after all of these points are checked, if you end up running it on manual, that means that you'll spend hours and hours retrying and getting frustrated just to get that one good run per week, and by the time you get it, Hydra will reset and then you'll have to do the same again for the next week. Will this help your clan? Yes. In my honest opinion, you should be in a clan that's not punishing you for not spending 24 hours in the game. If you are in such a clan, it's a little bit toxic in my opinion. Some players enjoy the challenge and love doing this, so I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying that for the player base of this game, we're all middle-aged people with jobs and real life problems that we're dealing with, so we cannot spend all of our time in the game, and that's a big chunk of time that you can save. I do not recommend, even if you can build the team, I do not recommend building the Titos team. I think that this kind of team and the amount of time it requires to run it, or the frustration from the failed runs, is going to be a factor that will make you frustrated from the whole game over time, and then after you run it for weeks and weeks, you can't go back to a team that's doing lower damage. So it's your call whether you want to run this team or not. I'm just telling you my advice. First, I'll show you the gear level. I think what I will show you is the minimum gear level that you will need to run such a team. And then if you can do it, you have to make the decision whether you want to do it or not. It's up to you. I'm just telling you my opinion. I don't think it's worth it. Let's now check. I've been chatting for a while and I haven't even checked how big the hits are from Wixwell now. Of course, it can get way higher than this. But the main thing is that this run failed because Titos got eaten, as we can expect at any... Oh, okay, let's go back and see this. So he's hitting at 2.3 million. I think we ramped it up a little bit higher before this run ended. Like, look at the shield here. So it's his turn. Of course, he's not doing the big hit now. Look at how the shields scaled on these champions. That's what you want to see. So all of our buffs are at 4 or 5 turns. I'm extending them using Owella and then resetting and extending them again using Wixwell while I'm extending the shield. So that's the view that you want to see. And then the shield is getting bigger and bigger. Let's see that last hit. So here Georgette got eaten, and of course Titus will get him out. Let's get to Titus' turn here. Okay, can we have a big hit before this video ends? Let's see. Okay, here is an 8.8 million hit. Now it's ramping up. So as you can see, we are at turn 27, so it's pretty early, and we're hitting for 8 million. The longer the run, you can achieve crazy numbers, but that's what I wanted to show you in the video. Let's go back to the game, and now I'll just show you the builds to see the level of the gear required. That's the team. The only 2 missing champions are Georgette, just with more crit damage than Titos. That's the only requirement. And then the other one is Lamasu. We'll check. So I need 6 pieces of Merciless on Titos for a chance at extra turns and stuff. 246 speed. We don't care about his crit rate because his damage is not depending on it. But we need as much crit damage and defense as we can stack. Mainly crit damage here. And of course the lower HP, from what we've seen, the lower HP that he has, the higher his hits is. For some reason, he should be the slowest more or less. As much crit damage as you can stack on him, and then defense. Lower HP, you don't want high HP on him, and then if you can give him that resistance. So I'm running this team on Brutal. It can barely work, I think, with the increased resistance from Owella on Nightmare as well, but around 350-400 resistance, just in case the Mischief hit targets him, he can still maintain that shield and stuff. So we need the resistance, and then the crit damage and all of that in 6-piece Merciless. I'm not sure if these are the best masteries for him, but that's what I have on him, and in 6-piece Merciless is what's suggested for him. My Wixwell is in 4 pieces Reflex and 4 pieces Merciless, just trying to get him to reset his cooldowns so that we'll do that shield extension more times, as many times as possible. Almost 270 speed. The resistance is a little bit low on him, but with the increased resistance on Willa and us running it on Brutal, it can work. He's tanky by default, HP and defense is fine, but what we need is the speed, the reflex, and the merciless if you can have them, and then some resistance. He needs more resistance than this, I would say. And then, surprise, surprise, I never gave Wixwell his masteries. He doesn't need it that much for this kind of team. It might help a little bit. Now, my two other champions in this team, which is Duchess here. The important thing is that Duchess and Willa, both of them are in shield sets. That's giving me a bigger initial shield for Wixwell to extend. And then the speed just within the range. So 250 speed, as much HP as you can put on them, because that determines the shield size. And then of course resistance as well, just in case they get targeted. But you technically just need it on the champion with the highest number of buffs. Duchess is the same, 260 speed, and then decent resistance if you can have it, and over 100k HP, which is great to give her that big shield at the beginning. I've seen people doing only one shield set instead of two, but having more buff extenders. Having two buff extenders, for example. There are some variation there. The cornerstone of this kind of team is two champions or 2 out of 3 champions. So Titos for sure, and then either Wixwell or Brogni. Brogni extends the shields based on his damage, so you need to give him 100% crit rate, attack, and all of that stuff. Wixwell just extends the shields based on number of buffs on the team. So Wixwell is easier to make work. I've seen teams using both of them to extend the shields even bigger and bigger, but usually it's either Brogni or Wixwell, mostly Wixwell in a lot of cases, with buff extenders and champs in a shield set, and one of the champions having crit damage more than Titos. This is the whole idea. Keep extending the shield, doing those big hits. As soon as Titos gets targeted, your run is over. If you didn't get enough damage by then, you'll have to retry and retry till you get enough damage. That's my whole point, and this is how you can build a Titos team to do billions of damage potentially. Maybe I'll make it happen one day, but for now, my advice for all of us is that even if you can build this team, I don't think it's worth your time. Don't go for it. It will be one of the major frustrations that you'll have in the game. If your clan is too aggressive and you enjoy the challenge, you can still go for it, and I've just shown you how. I hope this one was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thank you for stopping by. I'll see you next time.